today's webinar, AI as Your TA, sponsored by the Center for Teaching and Learning Excellence at St. Leo University. We will be recording this session, which is both on ground and online. So if you would like to view it later on a record, we recommend it to a colleague. You will find it on our webinar page of our CEDOL website or on our YouTube channel. We'll drop the links for those in the chat at the end of today's session, and we'll also drop a link for a brief feedback form that we'd appreciate your completing. I'm Marcela Van Olfen, a teaching and learning specialist, and the purpose of today's webinar is to share how faculty are using AI as their TA. Today we have as presenters Drs. Kenny Embry and Tonya Mazur from the College of Business, and Drs. Valerie Kasper and Iona Sarieva from the College of Arts, Sciences and Allied Services.
Hi everyone, it is a pleasure being here. I don't know which camera to look at. I'll look at this camera because I can establish eye contact, at least virtual eye contact. Well, today I will talk about one of the things that I use AI for in my teaching. I'm still playing. I understand, as all of us understand, that artificial intelligence is changing the way we learn and the way we teach and the way we just do our everyday life. We'll see it in the future, how it will affect our non-professional life. But at this point, definitely it affects the way we do things in our professional life. I'm still looking for ways to guide my students on how to use AI. I need to establish more confidence and trust to my students, but I'm quite actively using it in my work, and I'm looking for ways making my work easier and accomplishing some tasks that are more technical, faster, in a more efficient way. So hopefully this presentation, it was my experimentation when I was working on this presentation, how I can shorten the time to develop rubrics, and I decided to use 3 different types of AI because I'm still looking for the one that is my favorite, and maybe considering how dynamic everything is, I may not find the best way, but I decided to choose to use 3 different AI applications in order to experiment with the rubrics, and this is what I will be with rubric creation, and this is what I'll be sharing today. So I use Bing AI Chat, OpenAI, and Edu AI applications. And the way I use them, because I'm interested in, an efficient way of using AI, minimizing the time for interaction and maximizing the output. So the way I used the AI chat was just to copy and paste initially as my initial prompt the description of an assignment, and I used the same assignment for all of the chats. And also I analyzed these interactions in terms of number of adjusting interactions between the main prompts and the final outcome that would satisfy me. The rubric content with consideration of achievement levels, because one of the things that I wanted the AI to do for me is to develop the formulations of the different levels, starting from excellent and ending up with the lowest level developing, let's say that we label it. I also looked into the rubric format and how it can be then transferred into a different document. So this was another criteria that I looked on. And how speedy the generation of the rubric and responses were, because especially if we have to ask for several iterations of the rubrics, and the rubric is being generated for a minute or two. In our busy lives, we cannot wait for that many minutes and try to generate the rubrics, as it happens with actually ChatGPT multiple times. So this was another criteria for interaction. And was there an opportunities for record keeping for later reference, and what was the interface of the application itself? So I will briefly show you my examples, and will comment then on the quality of the outcomes. Right now I'm using for my presentation, I forgot to tell you, but maybe you recognize Padlet as being the organizer for this presentation. And I'm taking you straight to my Bing screen, which shows how the rubric was generated and how the whole thing looked like. Right now, as you can see, we have one major interaction that is simply pasting the description of the assignment, which is quite detailed, but this is, especially for major assignments, this is what I usually do with my students. So what I did was just to paste this into Bing, and this is the first outcome that came as the first output that came based on this initial post. As you can see, the rubric is quite developed, except that it somehow stopped developing it in the middle of the process, which was quite timely. By the way, I don't know if you have interacted with Bing chat, but it's not the fastest. Here I made another adjustment related to the points. Somehow the points system and making analytical rubric with different weight for each criterion was difficult on all three AI platforms to achieve. And finally, I pretty much got what I wanted, but for further adjustment and refining of the rubrics, I downloaded the rubrics in Excel spreadsheet format and was able to finalize the rubrics this way. So this is one of the things that I really liked with Bing for doing. With ChatGPT, things were much faster than with Bing. I went through the same process, but it was kind of less successful in terms of not so much of content, but more of the content was comparable, by the way, but more as related to formatting, as you can see, and I still don't know, maybe you can tell me why it happened. It started, for example, here developing the rubric as a table, and then it switched to paragraph format, and then it did something else when I don't know if the word table triggered something in the formatting, but look what happened to the format of the rubric. Very different. The points were kind of there, but it was very difficult to work with this format, because if to copy the codes, I copied the code, but when I pasted it in a different document, it looked very messy. So it wasn't really very useful to me. And I tried with several prompts to kind of resolve the problem and was not able to do, so I gave up. And finally, this AI application, EDU AI, is an interesting application. Actually, it has quite a few specific functions specifically designed for education and aligned for K through 12 education with all the objectives and things like this, which I didn't explore. I used just the rubric the rubric function. And as you can see, I played quite a lot with this, but the final version of the rubric was acceptable, except again that I was not able to finalize the points the way I wanted them to be finalized. So again here, let me see if I can, let me see. Oh, so here is the way that I could not save the chat records. The only thing what I was able to save was the output. So I'll go back to my Padlet and we'll comment on the functionalities of these applications. So I'll just go to the very bottom and say that Bing, actually I like Bing the most for generating rubrics. With the biggest drawback was the speed, and also when you use Bing, maybe you have noticed that if it starts developing some sort of output response, if you get out while waiting for the response to generate, go to another browser or and open another browser, then it stops generating. It wants to be with you when generating the output. Otherwise, rubric content was fine. The number of adjusting interactions was the lowest. The format of the rubric, as you saw, there is a Excel spreadsheet link that allows to download the rubric and then modify it further. It was the slowest one, but it saves both the input and the output, unlike the EDU AI, which also only saves the output. And also the interface was very user-friendly. They're comparable. The interface of Bing and ChatGPT are comparable, that you see all your turns, while it was not the case with the EGU AI. So for developing rubrics, I would recommend using Bing AI. That is the end of my presentation. I hope it was informative, and I would like to hear maybe your insights or examples of how to generate rubrics.
At the end, we are going to.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you for your attention. That was my presentation on developing rubrics.
Thank you, Iona. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today, I'd like to share with you how I use generative AI, in particular ChatGPT, to enhance and create active learning activities for my on-ground classes. As we all may know, ChatGPT can be fed prompts related to topics that we're covering in our courses, and in turn, the tool can create questions, discussion points, case studies, or active learning scenarios that can be used inside of the classroom. I'm a big fan of active learning scenarios in particular, and those can be either in groups or individually, but typically I'll lecture 15 or 20 minutes and then have a subsequent active learning activity for students. And ChatGPT allows us to customize these activities based on the specific needs of your class. And obviously that goes across disciplines, which is very important. You can adapt the generated content to suit different learning levels. You know, if you have something that is a little bit more remedial for freshman level students versus seniors, you can generate that content to suit your needs and address any specific learning objectives as well. For the sake of time, I've already completed my prompts in ChatGPT, but I'm going to go through each step with you. This specific activity was one that I utilized for my human resource management course this past semester. Okay, so you can see here, I said, hi, ChatGPT, I'm teaching training and development to a college level human resource management class, and I need an activity. And ChatGPT spits out this lovely case study and group discussion. It's very lengthy, but what's really great is it gives you the instructions, the materials that you need, and it breaks it down by time allotment. So as you can see, I teach on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so I have 50-minute courses, and this goes well beyond that. Okay, so great ideas here, but I'm not able to use it. And so then I said, oops, I forgot to mention a few things. I only have 30 minutes. Additionally, I'd like to have 6 groups, and my learning outcome is to describe training and employee discipline, including dealing with difficult employees. So then ChatGPT modifies the activity and again gives me the objective, the materials that I need, and then that time allotment. So here in the instructions, it is a mini case study. So it says present a concise case study that highlights a specific training challenge and an employee discipline issue involving a difficult employee. What's really great is I can take it to the next level and say, hey, I like that idea of a mini case. Can you please provide the concise case study mentioned in step 1 of your instruction? And then ChatGPT will say, sure, here is a mini case, and it will give an example of, an imaginary corporation. So ABC Corporation gives us the background, the challenges, and then questions for discussion so that students can get into their groups and kind of collaborate and discuss what the training challenges are and additional challenges that might take place in the work environment. And then I asked it again a little bit further, can you please provide 6 separate concise case studies? And this is where it's nice because, again, it is interdisciplinary. So we're going to have human resource managers across industries. So can you give me an example in healthcare, social work, finance, government agency, elementary education, and computer science? And ChatGPT says certainly. So you can break it down into different sectors. And so I just wanted to show you this specific example because we can use it across disciplines. Okay, and then at the very end, it tells us it can modify. So if you say, I don't like these, you can say, how about another example? And you can continue to modify as you go through. So if you read something that it's given you and you want to alter it in any way, just give it specific information and it will alter it and tailor it to your needs. And obviously there are some pros and cons to using ChatGPT. As you can see, it generates a wide range of content. So obviously these are the pros. It's very time efficient. I have been creating my own activities for many years and I enjoy doing it, but it is very time consuming. So this saves time in activity preparation and just allows you to create more dynamic lectures or lessons, a little bit less time spent on creating the activities. Again, it's customizable. You can tailor your content to your student population. There is enhanced student engagement. The students absolutely love these activities. I can't stress that enough. And then obviously it's very adaptable. It addresses different teaching needs for various subjects. And then on to the cons. Obviously with any AI, the first thing we think about is the ethical considerations. And I'm very transparent in my use of ChatGPT. I'll say to my students, hey, it seemed like you really liked that activity. Like, yeah, that was great. Well, thank ChatGPT because ChatGPT created it. So, I think we just have to be very transparent about what we're using it for. And obviously another concern is dependency. It can be pretty easy to get used to using AI or ChatGPT to continuously create activities for you. So I think we have to be careful of over-reliance because it can diminish our own expertise and creativity. So it kind of reduces that personal touch. So we need to be very careful for that. We are the subject matter experts, not ChatGPT necessarily. Obviously, there's potential bias. Biases may be present in the output. So as faculty, we need to review the accuracy of the information. And even with those scenarios that it gives us for the case studies, if it seems like it doesn't make sense, then either change it yourself or ask the generative AI to alter it for you. And then there can be a lack of understanding. So ChatGPT may not understand exactly what you're asking it for. So make sure you're very, very specific. And again, it could lead to inaccuracies or incomplete information in the content that it produces. So be careful for that. So hopefully this activity helps you a little bit to understand how you can more utilize ChatGPT as a teaching assistant. If you have any questions or if you like help, I can walk you through specific examples, just reach out. I'm more than happy to help. Thank you for your time.
All right, here we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to I've got ChatGPT and I've got Bing up, and basically I'll talk about some of the things that I do with ChatGPT. Specifics, I've been using ChatGPT for my Bible class at church. I'm teaching Luke right now, and I wanted to take a different perspective on it. And I was looking at the relationships in Luke, and so I asked it to come up with an outline for 26 class periods. But let me take that, and instead of doing that, right now I'm teaching a class called digital literacy. And one of the things that I asked it to do is outline a 45-minute college level class on digital literacy, include 3 learning objectives and 1 activity, and include a discussion about the American Library Association's definition of digital literacy. And I'm not sure if this is, especially to this group, I'm looking at people who are probably thinking, well, duh, it does this. But if somebody's watching this after the fact and thinks, okay, is this possible? Yeah, it's really possible. And one of the things that when I asked you to do this, just like Tonya was saying, you need to recognize that you're the content level expert. So what you have to do is, this is just a shortcut to get something, to get a blank page not to be a blank page anymore, and to get some ideas down on paper. And one of the things that I noticed immediately was that ChatGPT did not give me the American Library Association's definition of digital literacy. So one of the things that I asked it to do is include the definition of digital literacy from the ALA. And there it is. You can see it right there, which is actually really nice. That one of the things that I can do is ask it to iterate on things. Now, realize that ChatGPT that we can use for free is ChatGPT 3.5, and this thing is not getting worse. It's actually getting a lot better. And Bing does use ChatGPT 4.0. So if you want to get free access, ChatGPT is trying to make you pay for it. So when it comes to just thinking or filling a page or filling something and getting ideas about how I want to take off with with a course or with a topic within that course, and I'll go ahead and tell you, I did this as well. I was writing something for the online courses, and I thought, I wonder how ChatGPT would basically summarize this. So I fed it in a bunch of text, and it summarized it for me pretty well. Did I change it a little bit? Yeah, I changed it a little bit, but not much. But I thought this was actually a huge time saver for me. So anyway, that's ChatGPT. It's interesting because you were talking about creating. Iona, you were talking about creating rubrics. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Bard. Are y'all familiar with Bard? Which is Google's AI. Yeah, okay. I see it. This is one that I like because it integrates very nicely with the Google Office suite. So, for example, one of the things that let's just try this. Create a rubric for college level presentations. Include at least 5 items, including content, delivery, eye contact. Place it in a table, and let's see what it does. Huh. I'd have to look this over, but you see this down right here. When you click on this, where it says export to sheets. And there it is in a spreadsheet. And there's the prompt right there. And I have used this. So for example, another thing that I've asked it to do in the past is I've said at the beginning of every semester, basically I have to create a calendar that the university never provides for me, which is my courses on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And now I need to chart out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the semester. And then I need to start matching up all the things that happen on those Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Well, one of the things you can do is create a table where the rows are dates, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, dates between 11/14/2023 and 12/31. Whoops. 2023. Okay, well, but wait a minute. It didn't put any of my classes in there. Make the columns CMS 301, CMS 308, CMS 498. Okay. And number one, I would change all that, but I could actually give it instructions to clean all this up, and it would do that. But I want you to notice something, and this was something that was a mistake that I made. What day is today? It's
14.
Tuesday. And you'll notice right there that it puts Monday as 11/14. One of the things that I've asked it to do is I've asked it to clean up the dates. And about 60% of the time, it will go back and change the dates so they're accurate. What I like about this is it creates a table for me. It puts it in a spreadsheet, and then it's automatically adjustable, and I can use it just as I would any spreadsheet. Okay. Now let me go to Bing, and I don't know if you guys know it. You'll notice that I'm using this. Maybe you notice this, that I'm using this in Microsoft Edge, which is not my browser of choice. I don't particularly care for this one, but Bing is Microsoft's version of Google, and this is their search engine, and they are the ones that have contracted ChatGPT 4.0. And this right here, and by the way, I mean, I don't know if anybody uses Bing. They always have a beautiful photograph, and they change the photograph every day. So if you just want to see a pretty picture, come to Bing. Don't use the search engine, but do look at the pretty picture. This right here is Bing Chat, and this is ChatGPT. And one of the things that I like about using Bing, and by the way, I will criticize Microsoft doing this and forcing you to use their browser because it's stupid. Just as I criticize Apple for forcing to use their products for messaging, which is also likewise stupid. We figured out messaging a long time ago. We figured out browsers a long time ago, but they have that brand loyalty thing that they want to force you into. All right. This is something that I actually enjoy doing as far as graphics. Are you guys familiar with the graphic capabilities of ChatGPT? Yes, no.
Yes.
Tonya?
Not very impressed by the quality, but yes. So maybe you have some insights how to describe images better.
Well,
so
I mean,
we get better quality
sure.
images.
I usually, when I'm trying to get graphics, I'm usually not trying to get anything important. What I'm trying to do is make my students laugh. So I'll do something like, give me a picture of 3 rats in sombreros in front of a nuclear power plant with mustaches in an impressionist style. And I cannot tell you, let's see here. Give me and there he goes. I'll try to create that. If for no other reason than just to be able to get a picture of 3 rats with mustaches in front of, with sombreros in front of a nuclear power plant. I mean, I'm just making stuff up at this point. But this is just me getting a chuckle out of my students. But the thing about this is, where would you find this? And it created it for you, and you'll see the impressionist styling and everything. This to me is amazing because I didn't have to find it. It created it for me. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you that when I am much more realistic about asking it to draw a graph or something like that, it's not nearly as good and it's not nearly as useful. But when I'm just trying to find, okay, when I'm just trying to find some fancy piece of artwork that I know probably doesn't exist, this actually does a pretty decent job of it. I've had it put clowns in fields of sunflowers with a cubist style. I mean, just doing silly stuff. Now, I realize it's silly, but do you see the amount of technology that's behind this? Because that's what's incredibly impressive. I mean, this is something that is creating something out of whole cloth. Now, that said, it has found pictures of power plants. It has found pictures and is stylizing the picture. But still, I did that in how many seconds? 30 seconds? Okay. That to me is really impressive. So anyway, any kind of questions that you guys have for me?
We will
Or
wait
anybody?
for the end for the questions and answers.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Thank you, Kenny. Thank you
Not
very
any
much.
problem. That was easy.
And now I am going to share Valerie's presentation.
Everyone, this is Valerie Kasper over in English. I use several different AIs. I use ChatGPT, I use Bing AI, Google Bard, Dolly 3, and Otter AI. And I find all of them helpful for a variety of different things. So some of the ways you can use AI as your TA, helping with emails and letters of recommendation. For that kind of writing, you can use it to help you write a draft, providing it with the information that you would like it to draft into a more formal version. Remember, for letters of recommendation, not to give it any personal student information, to give it generic information. If you already have an email written or a letter of recommendation written and you would like it to check it for grammar, or you can ask it where your reader might become confused or have questions. That's another way to use both of those nicely. I tend to use it a lot for helping write assignments and instructions, and then using rubrics and also creating classroom activities, which I'll show you in a minute. I have also heard that it is nice for when you have a presentation that you can feed the presentation into it and ask it to give you questions the audience might ask. So it kind of helps prepare you for your presentation. And last but not least, I also use it a lot for helping me create quiz and test questions. So I'll look at a few of these. So this is an assignment example created from scratch for a new class this semester. I had a lot of ideas of what I wanted to do and kind of had a draft of what I wanted to do with pieces. And so I fed that information into it, and over several drafts working with ChatGPT in this case, we came up with a good a good draft that I wanted to use. I took that draft, I turned it into a formal assignment, which you can see over here up in the right-hand corner, and that worked really nicely. I have used it also for taking a activity homework assignment, actually a homework assignment that I use in class. Homework assignments are really low stakes in my class just to get them started. And the students really liked this homework assignment, so I decided to expand it into a more formal, higher stakes assignment. So I took the homework assignment, put it in, asked it to create a more developed, higher stakes assignment, and again, gave me a really good draft, which I was able to work with and create a formal assignment from. And then I took that formal assignment, put it back into ChatGPT, and asked it to create a rubric for me based on that assignment, and then took that rubric as a draft and continued to work on it until I got the entire assignment and rubric where I wanted it. Needless to say, pretty much anything it spits out is going to be a draft that you're going to have to work with. I've used it to help me with quizzes. So I have a reading quiz up in the upper right-hand corner for Letter from Birmingham Jail. And what I really liked about this was I knew what I wanted, but the idea of taking the time to go do it was daunting. So I wanted recall questions in multiple choice fashion, so I could put it into D2L. That one was easy. But then I wanted other more developed questions all the way through to some critical thinking questions. And I wanted those developed in a multiple choice fashion so that I could again put it in D2L. So one of the things we did, I wanted it to pull examples from Letter from Birmingham Jail and then have the students identify whether these were pathos, logos, or ethos. So it allowed me to create 3 different types of questions that I could then load into D2L and tell D2L to pull like 5 from each section. And I had a larger section, so there was a pool so the students would not get the same test, but they would all get 5 of each style of questions. So I was really happy with that, and it didn't take me hours to do. Below that, when I attend webinars, I always like to have a summary of them. So I take the transcript and ask ChatGPT to either give me a bulleted points of importance or to give me a summary. If there isn't a transcript, I actually take the video and put it into Otter AI and have it make me a transcript that I can then put into ChatGPT and ask it to do a summary. Up top, homework justification feedback. We do a lot of homework low stakes, as I said, to get them started. And when I am grading that homework on a completion basis, I like to tell them why it was important. And sometimes I just can't come up with the words I want. So in this case, I asked it to give me a short paragraph explaining why logical fallacies are what they are and why they are important to learn. And it gave me a nice little draft paragraph that I then incorporated into the feedback for the homework assignment. Below that, I was working with, I have an article I'm working on, and I couldn't come up with a title that I really liked. So again, fed information into it, and it gave me 5 different choices of article ideas. I wound up combining 2 of those choices together for an article title. And last but not least, over on the left side, when I'm looking for images and I don't want to have to worry about citing the source, whether I can use the source, etc., I can go into DALL-E 3 and tell it what kind of image I want, and it will create the image. So both of these were custom created images that I used in my announcement section. So I hope that was helpful, and I wish you guys all the best in dealing with AI.
Thank you so much, Valerie. Now yes, we're gonna open the floor for questions and answers. Who would like to begin? Iona, you were going to say something after your presentation.
No, I just wanted to invite people for questions and comments. But I have a question actually about BART. BART, what kind of, I played with it a little bit and somehow prefer Bing. I don't know why, I ended up using it more frequently. But is BART, I assume it is connected to the internet, and what version of ChatGPT does it use? 3.5, 4.5?
It doesn't use ChatGPT. It's a
Oh, what does it?
competitor. No, it uses it's a competitor to ChatGPT. It's Google's. By the way, I mean everybody's trying to get into this game now. So this is one that's competing against ChatGPT. Elon Musk just announced that he's going to try and get in the race as well. So I mean, it's a race, and so anyway.
Yeah, he just released I think he didn't release it, but he pushed out a statement saying that his new AI that's going to compete AI software that's going to compete with ChatGPT is Grok, named after the AI from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So it's yeah. And he released a couple of insights to it, and it's very sassy, just like the AI in the book. But he's coming out with one too, so it's very competitive out there right now.
Yeah, I think it's this is his protest AI. Basically, he's worried about the financial incentives behind AI, and he wants it to be more open source and more basically free. So anyway, I'll be interested to see who actually comes out on top.
Haven't you heard anything about Gemini, or Geminis? That's another one they say is coming, that it's going to be a big competitor for ChatGPT. So every day I'm checking to see if there is something new on it.
I haven't heard anything about that. I know there are 3 or 4 other organizations that are coming up with stuff, but the fact of the matter is, I mean, I think Google has a natural advantage because it's been crawling the internet for so long. ChatGPT basically had deep pockets when it came to investors, and then it started trying to make itself, and it still is trying to make itself a subscription service, and that's how they're trying to monetize, or at least one way that they're trying to monetize. And the monetization on this is the funny part to me, which is how people will make money. The other thing that I'll be interested to see is if Elon Musk does this as philanthropically as he's claiming he's trying to do it, that means people will be able to build upon whatever he's making, which is an exciting thing, because you look at, I don't know if any of you guys are interested in Linux or have even heard of Linux, but it's an operating system that is completely free. It's in competition with both Mac OS and Microsoft Windows. And people have been building upon it, and most of the internet is made on Linux. It's not made on Windows, nor is it made on Macintosh, which is interesting. So I'll be interested to see the future of this stuff. I'm going to shut up now.
No, please.
I actually just posted a chart when Austin Trantham and I did our session a couple of weeks ago. I created this comparison chart of some of the bigger AI chatbots, and obviously there are more coming out, but this kind of gives you an overview. The caveat with it is the fact that as quick as you post something, and they update it, and there's just this massive race to see who can one up the next one. And it's interesting because even some of these companies are investing in multiple ones. You know, you got Amazon building their own, but yet they've spent multiple billions of dollars into Claude 2, Anthropic. So, you know, you just kind of wonder where they're going. But each one has its strengths and its weaknesses. So, you know, being able to figure out how to use them to their strengths, and having several of those, you know, that instructors can use, I think is advantageous. Here's a question for each person that presented. What would be your advice to a faculty member that says, I'm not really sure right now about AI? What would you say to them to say, you know what, maybe you should try to get in and maybe you've already had some of those conversations with your colleagues in your own department or other departments.
When it comes down to using it as a teaching assistant, just asking the faculty member, what is it that's bogging you down? And then introducing to them ideas that can help them to come out from under that pile, whatever it is they're struggling with.
Thanks.
Yeah, you kind of saying what Tonya said, but on top of that, I mean, it's not going anywhere. And it's only going to get better. It's not going to get worse. This is the worst it's ever going to be. It's not like, I mean, again, the analogy everybody is drawing is it's a word calculator. I mean, math didn't go away when we got calculators. We just got to do different levels of math. And it's a tool. It has good uses, bad uses. I don't think it's going to get rid of your job. As long as teenagers make stupid mistakes, they will always need professors to pull them back in line. So I mean, the thing about it is I think, kind of like Tonya was talking about, we are the subject matter experts. Where do you think they're getting? Where do you think the AI platforms are getting their stuff? So, and plus, I think it's an amazingly good opportunity to teach critical thinking. The thing about it is if you are smart enough to know what ChatGPT is doing wrong, then you probably are a subject matter expert. That you are smart enough to deal in ideas, and that's what we talk about. So here's a great, what I've wanted to do is tell ChatGPT to create something that is intentionally fallacious, and then have students go through and tell me what the problems are with this. So, and that means you didn't have to write it, and that's actually like Tonya was saying, a great time savings for you.
Thank you, Kenny. Is there anyone else who would like to ask one more question? Because it's about time.
I did want to comment on Claude 2, which Greg mentioned. It's the differentiator for Claude 2 is that you can upload a PDF and it'll read it, but you can also upload 12 times the amount of content than you can in ChatGPT 4. You can upload 75,000 words. So it will take a whole lot more content than the other ones. And it seems to be as robust and as effective. I mean, they're all different, but it's worth taking a look at Claude 2. And that is, as Greg mentioned, it's Anthropic's. And Anthropic seems a lot, well, it is. It states that it's very committed to equitable use of AI, safe use of AI. They have a lot of guardrails. They have an entire department focused on the guardrails and the safety mechanisms of using AI and so forth. So it seems to be a lot more socially responsible in terms of AI use. So I think it's an interesting one to take a look at.
Does it cost anything?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Dr. Embry. I do have a question. In terms of that learning curve you guys experienced using these programs and software, how would you describe that process of not really being familiar with using AI to now actually integrating it and being productive with it and using it as your TA? How was your experience with that? And what advice would you give to other faculty that want to go through that process but are kind of reluctant with that learning curve? If you guys can kind of tell what I'm trying to get at. Yeah.
I think that we can't make people use it. There's going to be some faculty members, the old school faculty members, or stuck in their ways that don't even want to open it. So finding a way to encourage them and explain to them that it's not going anywhere, and use it for personal use first. I actually was talking to a friend who was going on a road trip, and they were traveling from Florida to New York. And so I said, put in ChatGPT cool destinations or cool restaurants that you can visit along the way, and ChatGPT mapped it out. So, potentially just introducing the idea of using it for personal reasons first so that they understand what the capabilities are, and then maybe they can gradually move into using it at a professional level.
Thank you, Tonya. Thank you, Isis, for the question. That was wonderful.
Just to add on to that, I think anybody who's scared of it, I think are probably scared of it for 2 or 3 reasons. They think they're going to lose their job. I don't think our jobs are going anywhere because of these AI bots. I think that the beautiful thing about these bots right now is they're third graders, they're fourth graders. They don't have all the information yet, but they're getting better, and they're getting better fast. And again, like Tonya was saying, these are just amazing tools, and they save you so much time, and they will get better. And if you decide that you want to, if you decide you don't want to take advantage of this, or you don't want to use it, which is fine, let me ask you, do you want to do long division again? Would you like to if you're an SPSS fiend, would you like to do the calculate your alphas by hand again? I mean, the fact of the matter is, this is going to save you a bunch of time, and it's not going to get everything right. And thank goodness you know what you're talking about, so you can tell it when it's not right. But like Tonya said, this isn't going anywhere, and there comes a point where I don't know exactly how to say this, but I guess I'll just say it. You're either going to get on board, or you're going to get run over, and you need to figure out how to, because your students are going to be using this. Are they going to learn how to use it well? Or are they going to be knuckleheads and not use this well? Be the one that teaches them how to use it well.
Thank you, Kenny.
Is this the first time that knucklehead has been used in this group? I need to know.
Possibly.
I need to know.
Possibly the first time.
I'm glad to take that mantle.
We'll give you all the credit. Okay. Thank you so much to all of you for participating in today's webinar. We hope you have learned something today about the challenges, benefits, and practical applications that AI brings to our workplace. We would like to please ask you to take a moment to give us feedback about today's session. We dropped a link to a survey into the chat. Once you click into that survey, the survey will stay open after you have left the meeting. Lastly, I'd like to remember to check out, we have more videos in the YouTube channel and the webinar page from our CEDAW webpage, and we will drop those links in the chat as well. Thank you all for coming, and especially to our presenters, Drs. Kenny Embry, Tonya Mazur, Dr. Iona Sarieva, and Valerie Kasper. Thank you all.